Welcome to Surrender School.
Statement. At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12-step and other supportive recovery solutions with those who want a healthy relationship with food. We are not an official 12-step meeting, but we do try to adhere to the spirit of the traditions. If Surrender School has been helpful to your recovery at all, please consider donating. The yellow button is at the bottom of our landing page for the website. And let's do it. Let's come into the room, leave the day behind for a little while. Take a couple of deep breaths. Feel your feet on the floor. I'm glad you're here with me so we can do this together. Higher power, help us to set aside everything we think we know to leave space for what we have yet to learn. Okay, so today I'm going to get a little geeky. I get geeky every day. Okay, so today's topic is the performance mindset versus the growth mindset. Now, science right now, the state of science right now, believes that there are two ways or two frameworks in which you can see yourself and your abilities. The first is a performance mindset, and the second is a growth mindset. The performance mindset believes that you have a limited, fixed amount of ability or talent. You either have it or you don't. The goal of the performance mindset is to perform well. It's just to look good. That's the whole goal of the performance mindset. The growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that any ability can be grown and developed over time. The goal of the growth mindset is obviously to learn and grow. So perform or learn and grow. When things are going well, you're cruising along in abstinence, you're losing your weight, these two mindsets look very similar. But the moment things don't go well and get challenging, the performance mindset person crumbles. This explains my pattern of giving up on OA the second I break my abstinence. My performance is no longer perfect and I crumble. Now, there's this, the seminal scientist in this area is Carol Dweck. That's her name. She wrote a great book called Mindset. And she tells us, quote, people's beliefs about themselves, their mindsets, can create different psychological worlds. And this is very important. The performance mindset leads us to focus on easy stuff and to avoid challenges. In essence, if I can't do it perfectly the first time, then I'm not going to do it. Failing with this mindset, with the performance mindset, it is seen as a humiliating disaster. The growth mindset, on the other hand, leads us to want to learn, to get better, and to grow. Failing with the growth mindset is seen as just another opportunity to learn and grow. It's just an opportunity to get better. Okay, so a performance mindset goal. Think, I'm going to weigh 120 pounds by Christmas, okay? Performance mindset goal is about measuring ability. When the performance is poor, the person declares themselves permanently deficient and becomes helpless. How many times has that happened to us in this program? A growth mindset goal, however, is about mastering new things. When the performance is poor, the person doesn't take it as a statement of their ability. I can't recover. I can't get this program. They don't do that. What they believe when they fail is that they just haven't found the right strategies yet. They don't measure themselves, their worth, by their performance. Can you see how this applies to abstinence? Are you telling yourself that you need to perform perfectly at whatever you're doing? Or are you coaching yourself to see how much you can learn? You see the difference there. You're either a critic, your own worst critic with a performance mindset, but with a growth mindset, you're your own coach, you're your own cheerleader. That's a big difference in experience, internal experience. So when you fall short of your goals, how do you respond? How do you tend to respond when you fall short? We have to learn how to interpret our failures. When we fail, we need to interpret the failure as a problem with effort or strategy rather than ability or talent. Effort or strategy, those are the two things we need to look at. Not whether we're a weak, hopeless, cowardly person, but just effort. Did we put any effort into this? What kind of effort did we put in? And am I trying things that just aren't working for me? Am I demanding that things that aren't working for me work? I remember, and I love this quote, but I'm sorry, I have no idea where I found it. But the quote is, "The cornerstone of success is not God-given talent, but deliberate practice." I'll say it again. The cornerstone of success is not God-given talent, but deliberate practice. B.J. Fogg wrote a book called Tiny Habits, and in it he says, "We are not the problem. Our approach to change is the problem. Failure is a design flaw, not a personal flaw. Failure is a design flaw, not a personal flaw." That one is extremely important for me. He goes on to say, once you remove any hint of judgment, your behavior becomes a science experiment. A sense of exploration and discovery is a prerequisite to success. And this is the time in my talk when I say, okay, Linda, what does this have to do with abstinence, right? I believe how we approach abstinence determines how successful we are in the long run. I spent years, well, decades, okay, if I'm honest, decades, approaching abstinence with a performance mindset. Any hiccup, any break in abstinence, and I crumbled. I just crumbled. The process usually went like this. I would hit bottom yet again. I would come crawling back into program, feeling ashamed and humiliated at my weight gain. I would vow to do anything anyone said so I could get abstinent again and lose the weight. I'd start working the steps. I'd follow a food plan. I'd be doing really well until I wasn't. I had a break in my abstinence. I would freak out. I would tell myself that it was all over, that I was hopeless, I couldn't recover, program didn't work, you name it. The ridiculousness went on, which was the perfect excuse that I needed so that I could jump off into the food with gusto and take my toys and go home. Now I approach my abstinence, or I try and approach my abstinence, my food plan, and my recovery, and actually everything else in my life, with a growth mindset. Everything is a practice, not a performance. As I'm sitting here and I'm talking with you guys, this is a practice, not a performance. Every situation, good or bad, is an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to get better, to move forward. Falling short is an amazing opportunity to grow. Or as some of my sponsees call it, another fucking growth opportunity. So do I live in this approach all the time? Of course I don't. Hell no. But when I catch myself in performance mindset, I do ask my higher power to help change my mindset back to a growth mindset. Seneca had a great quote on this. It is, you have to catch yourself doing it before you can correct it. That's why we have to be awake and aware. So, is this an excuse to be sloppy and cavalier with your abstinence? No, it is not. Abstinence is a spiritual practice for us. We try with everything we have to remain abstinent, no matter what. But abstinence is a practice, not a performance. With every mistake, we learn something, and our abstinence gets stronger as long as we approach it with a growth mindset. So people, bring a flashlight, not a hammer, to your mistakes. Approach abstinence with an experimenter's mindset and grow in your ability to be abstinent. It's not win or lose. It's win or learn. Okay, let's do a question. Okay. All right, here's our question for today. When you fall short in your abstinence, how do you tend to respond? What are your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors? I'll set the alarm for 5 minutes and we'll talk on the other end.
Thanks for recovering with us.